I was 20 something years old and I first heard this album, and I was working in the music business, and I had never seen or heard a more fierce woman whose lyrics were so impactful, and she inspired me to go out there and sign beautiful, magnificent artists that had something to say that were going to matter. So thank you so much, Alanis, for being such an inspiration. So I'm going to kick it off with you and ask you, what was your reaction when they first brought to you the idea of making Jagged Little Pill into a musical?
I was flattered. And my initial thought was, is it going to have to be my story? Because that's terrifying. And maybe one day I'll have the audacity to share it in another form. But my first thought was, the only way I would want to do this is if I were to be surrounded by a team of people with whom I resonated, but also if there were to be a story told that would match and intertwine and feel married to the music. Because the last thing I wanted to do, to be perfectly transparent, was any kind of a jukebox musical. I think it was about 8 years ago that we met. We took our time meeting different people, various writers, but it didn't entirely resonate until Diablo Cody's name was run past us, and Diane Paulus. And I'm repeating a little bit of what Diane said earlier, but slowly but surely it became this dream team of 1 + 1 + 1 = 57. I can't even believe these songs have taken on a new life in a way that has expanded what I even knew possible. But it truly feels like the record and your book were written at the exact same time.
Diane, what was it about the album that spoke to you in the theatrical sense that made you see it as a musical? And was there anything about the material that surprised you when revisiting it with that perspective?
I referenced it a little bit earlier, but for me, I love the dual challenge of dealing with something that exists in the culture and wanting as a director to deliver that, right? So I just felt like, yes, there are many, many people who want to live inside Jagged Little Pill. The viscerality of this music, it's like ritual. This is Greek theater meets musical. And when I talked with Alanis, I did say, I feel like it's epic. Your album is epic, and we have to do something epic theatrically.
Diablo, what was it like for you to approach this material and create such a layered, multi-character narrative for the stage?
I feel, first of all, it's always a shame when the smart people talk first, because it's like, we got like relationality, Greek chorus, we're done here. Like, what am I going to say to you guys? I felt like this album and this project in general were just absolutely just like a gift brought to me, because if you listen to Jagged Little Pill, I feel like the characters are in there already. It's not a typical, jukebox musical situation where you're thinking, okay, well, how can I shoehorn this hit into the story? It was really just this very cool, synergistic, organic thing.
Larby, what was it like being able to source so many different styles to tell these character stories? And how do you help tell their stories through movement?
It was Diane that came with the idea of having an ensemble, which really, really was amazing, because suddenly you have these bodies in the room that can witness what's going on in the family, that can move along with them or move against them and kind of comment. That's what the ensemble is doing. They are the first witness. And through their eyes, we can know if some things will derail or will go in a good direction or a bad or something in between, all these gray zones.
Tom, what is it like to work together with Alanis on this music? And what were some of the challenges of adapting such an iconic album and making it work for this story and these characters?
Well, first, I can't say enough about my experience working with Alanis. It's a dream come true. I think I said to you, we were doing a photo shoot, and I said, if you told the college version of myself that I would be here right now with you taking photographs, I would have never believed it. And the great challenge with something like this is of course, you're working with an iconic, brilliant masterpiece, and everyone's going to know what you did.
That's true.
So there's no hiding. And I think that what I wanted to do is I wanted to be fearless in that and say, this album matters as much to me as it does to anybody. I take it very seriously. It is sacred. And so I'm going to go about everything that I think might work in the adaptation very carefully, with Alanis's guidance and collaboration, and with this incredible creative team's guidance as well. And we're going to find it together.
Alanis, you are a pioneer in our industry on so many levels, but very significantly in using your work to express incredible depths of emotion. How do you use your art to tackle challenging topics and bring messages of healing for audiences?
So I guess one of the biggest moving parts to this for me is how I went from being pretty insulated and isolated, even as I traveled the planet performing these songs and seeing how it was resonating. There was still a profound loneliness for me. And this experience has brought me into this community and has brought these songs and these stories to life in a way that has allowed the rubber to hit the road for them. It's like I've hit pay dirt for these songs that were so pure and so sweet and so delicately created and vulnerably created in this little tiny box. And even with my having shared it, it still didn't feel like it was a healing experience for me. It might have created healing perhaps for others if they were to make it their own. But for me personally, it wasn't until now.